Hi everyone, delonewolf here, and welcome back to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. I hope you guys saw the latest scope video. I thought that one was really cool when CCP introduces some lore about the new skin system. So it's actually pirates that invented the skin system to try and get their freighters to do their smuggling more efficiently, but now one of them has been seized, and so it's only a matter of time for the empires to reverse engineer that and then to start selling it to us capsuleers. So pretty cool. I do like how they're going about introducing lore with the changes that they're introducing in the game. So pretty cool stuff. We are here for the market, of course, and we are going to start with plex, and that will be at 50 seconds. And plex are going up. I'll take the 1 month chart here to clearly show that the 800 million consensus price that we had a few weeks ago and for a few months almost, I think, it's now gone, and we are clearly going up. Currently we are looking at 820 for the sellers, 809 for the buyers, so it's pretty obvious that the increase in price for plex is here. My theory behind it is that it is the June release, where we'll see the nullsec sovereignty mechanics change. I think that one is what's driving the current increase in price. So it's probably going to bring back a lot of players just to try it out. It's also going to mean that I think a lot of nullsec alliances will be on standby and will want to be at full force when this hits. And so I think this just means more players coming in, more demand for plex, and maybe a bit of speculation as well that all of this is happening because this is a very important release, whereas a few years ago we would have the 2 expansions, and the winter expansion would always be the big one. And so I think people were always gambling that the winter expansion would bring in a lot of players all of a sudden, thus we would also see a big increase in price for plexes. Then it would drop off the month for like the months after February, I would say, when people would start to take a break from the game, and then we would always have a smaller summer expansion, and so less of an impact on the price for plex. But with a new release system where CCP is now basically going to release whenever things are ready, it's really the big ones, the ones that are going to substantially change the game, that could trigger speculation on plex or increase demand for plex. And I think that FuzzySoft, the new sovereignty system that they're planning to release in June, is one of those. And so we could see this momentum of increase in the price of plex take quite a bit of keep going, basically. I do think that could happen. So I bought several at 800 million, and I don't think this is going to stop. I think this is going to continue to go up, and if you want to plex your accounts, consider trying to buy one early. That would be my personal recommendation. I could be wrong as well, of course, but I think it's a distinct possibility. Let's check out the multi-pilot training certificate. That one is also going up. So that one is following suit. We're currently looking at, well, 814. You can see that the supply is pretty low. You can actually pick a few up relatively cheaply. Supply demand is at 791. This is of course a much smaller market. I think that people coming back to the game will jump to plexes first and not to multiple pilot training certificates. And so, but it is following the same trend as plex right here. And then we have pilot's body resculpt. That one is actually not following the trend, so that one is coming off of a bit of a spike from, well, 170 to 200. So actually percentage wise this is pretty big, and so maybe a cool down of this market is normal. The 5-day moving average and the 20-day moving average are meeting each other now. And so my expectation here is that this is actually going to bounce off of it and slowly start to go up together with plex and with the multiple pilot training certificate. So if that one actually doesn't do that and actually comes back down towards the normal price of like 165 to 170, it could be that I'm wrong, and so we could see plexes go back down as well. This could just be a small speculative bubble or something like that as well. It is a possibility, but if you don't see that happening and all of them start to go to move up in a trend, I think that the release in June could have a big impact behind that. So that's the plex market at the moment. It's going up, so keep in mind you'll have to make some more money if you want to plex your account. Next up, we'll move on to the mineral market, and that's at 510. And here, well, it's not good news for the high-sec miners. This is titanium. That one is going down substantially now. Clearly that has some momentum, so we are currently looking at 552 for the sellers, 539 for the buyers, where I used to be really happy that titanium managed to maintain itself above 6 ISK. This is quite a bit of a decrease already. Supply demand is still looking quite okay though, so the demand here 1 billion 900 million right here. That is still looking pretty strong, which is okay. I feel that could mean that this decrease in price could stop at any time, but at the moment the expected ore rebalance for the next batch, which should be April 28, I think, is doing its work, of course, and people are speculating that there will either be more supply or less demand, or maybe both, for the high-sec minerals, and so we are seeing a decrease in price here. Next up here we've got pyrite. It's doing the same. It hesitated a little bit, but you can see the trend over the last month or so, going from 13 ISK, and now we're at 1236 for the sellers, 1219 for the buyers, and this could continue to go down here. Supply demand, well, 430 here, but that's not a new order. Then 200 million here, that's a pretty recent order, but they are going down in price here. So the recent orders are actually pretty low and pretty scarce, and supply, well, that's looking half decent, but people are bound to be dumping some stocks here and there now as well, putting some pressure on the price. Not looking too good here. Here is Mexalon. That one is clearly going down as well, from 59 ISK to 53 on the chart. It's actually below that already for the sellers, 51.45 for the buyers. So that trend is here, and this is Isogen, exactly the same. And then finally we have Noxium, which can be mined in high-sec, but it's not that easy to find. I think there are bigger sources in nullsec and wormhole space and in anomalies, but it's doing the same thing as the other high-sec minerals, clearly going down in price at the moment. So unfortunately, high-sec miners, your profits per hour are going down substantially at the moment. That is not very good news. On the other hand, for the nullsec miners, this is the Zydrine chart. So that one is going up, and is now, well, it went up quite substantially, but that seems to be stalling finally. So here we can see that all of this is pretty recent, and we are finally starting to see some competition in the sell order side of things, and thus the price is going towards like 1380 for the sellers, 1322 for the buyers. That margin is a bit lower as well, so it looks like maybe 1350, something like that, turns out to be the new consensus price for Zydrine, which is, well, considering a bottom of 400, more than 4 times the price in just a few weeks. So that is pretty good for anyone that bought a lot of stocks of Zydrine before all of these announcements. You made a serious profit right here. It's of course very similar for Megasite, 2000, above 2000 for the buyers, 2200 for the sellers. You can see a very similar chart right here. On the 6-month chart, I think it's a much more dramatic, let's see, a bottom of like 700, and we're currently looking at 2200, so more than triple the price in just a few weeks. Maybe I'll show you guys the 6-month chart for Zydrine, exactly the same right here. And so this is all due to the ore rebalance that's going to happen in this month's release, and of course also the increased need for both Zydrine and Megasite across the board, for all of the production that's going on. So I haven't read the dev blog yet. I really should, to find out all of the details, but this does mean that Zydrine and Megasite have been an awesome investment if you made it. I made a very small one, so I made a decent profit on it, but it also looks like it's too late to try and speculate on this. Now the market has made its move. I think the new prices have been found right now, and we'll have to wait and see for the actual release and the actual impact on everything to see what is going to happen after that. But I don't think you should gamble and buy huge amounts anymore for like Megasite and Zydrine. You are too late for that. So we'll see what the impact is on the Tech One ship market. So that's at 10.15. And here's the Apocalypse 6-month chart here, starting at like 175, and it's been there for quite a while, but now look at that, 180. And this is my personal expectation. So the buyers have gone up to 176, the sellers 183. I do think that this is something we'll see, especially on the bigger ships. If it is true that we'll need more Zydrine and more Megasite, then the impact is bound to be bigger on larger objects like battleships. And my expectation is that we will slowly see a trend of increased price for Tech One things, Tech One ships especially, I think. The reason for that is, as I've said, the increased need for Zydrine and Megasite. They have really jumped up in price dramatically. It is true that there is a bit of a counter push because the lower prices for high-sec minerals, but I think that the trend will be, it's going to cost a little bit more to make stuff, thus it's going to cost a bit more ISK to buy them as well. That is my expectation. Here's the Caracal. It's very difficult to say if that one is showing that same trend, because of course it's coming right off of a spike. The interesting thing I would say is that the 5-day moving average and the 20-day moving average do meet each other at a very high price, whereas I would have put the normal price for Caracal, like for the last year or so, at around 10.5 million. We are currently already looking at 11 million for Bioder's 10.6 million as well, and so that's above that consensus price, where it should be a few 100,000 below that. And so I do think that the Caracal may be showing that trend as well. Here's the Dominix. Normal price probably 190 to 195. Currently we're looking at, well, 192 for the buyers, 199 for the sellers, so that's still okay for a 195 Dominix, which is probably, yeah, the average price, although we were quite a bit below that like 3-4 months ago, and had been there for a while. So maybe very slowly, yeah, an increase in price for the Dominix as well. Probably general inflation has a bit to do in this as well. Here is then the Myrmidon chart. Normal price 51, something close to that. We're currently looking, well, that's still doing okay. 50.2 for the buyers, and then the sellers at 54 million. Bit of a spike as well here, and not that much supply coming in, but the numbers are starting to show up. So I think that the Myrmidon could come back down a little bit closer to 51, which would be a normal price. So still doing quite okay. Here is the Stabber then. It could be, you know, we've been like below 10.5 million for the Stabber for quite a while now. We saw some jittery speculation all of a sudden, and the buyers 10.270. It's still below the 10.5 mark, so I think they're still trying to keep it there, but I think that the pressure is on all of these to increase the price of the lowest buy orders and stuff like that. Here's then the Tornado. Here I do think we can see the trend. Average price probably 64 to 65, but on this 6-month chart you can see that it has been trending up towards 68. Current buy order 66 million, so here that is clearly happening. Tornado prices have gone up over 6 months very slowly, but they have gone up. And then here is the Vexor. That one has actually been able to maintain itself like 11 to 50, I would say, on average, and it's been right there for quite a while. The buyers 10.760, the sellers 11.3, or close to that. So yeah, for some reason the Galente ships are still staying competitive. They're staying at the prices that they've had for quite a while, but some of the other ones are showing signs that the Tech One trend is a slow uptrend, and I think that the changes to the minerals is going to just accentuate that impact. And maybe the bigger the ship, I think the more visible it will be that you'll need to pay a bit more for like a Tech One battleship. So that is my take on that. We'll move on to the Tech 2 market, and that is at 1450. Let's see if we can find some investments or some sell opportunities. Here's the Basilisk charts. Unfortunately, I would prefer to see it closer to 175 or even 170 before I'd say, yeah, consider buying that, and I would like to see more of a spike up for selling. So Basilisk, no. Here is the Golem. Buy opportunity is over at 1.1. We're currently looking at 1.16, something like that. So still a bit early to say, yeah, go and try and sell. I would prefer to see a spike closer to 1.2 billion, and then maybe a trade could be worth it. Keep in mind, of course, we're talking a ship that costs more than $1 billion, so that's only for the very rich. No way that I'm going to risk a trade like that, but I'm just adding it here in case, because a good trade, like let's say you could buy it right here for 1.06 billion and then sell it for 1.2. For a single trade, that is of course quite a bit of money made, but it's only for the very rich, I would say, or the very risk hungry people. Next up here is the Guardian. That's looking pretty good for investments, honestly. Double dip towards 130. Currently the buyers are below 130, the sellers 130.7, so just above that. You can clearly pick up some Guardians at 130 million, and I feel that that's actually an okay investment considering the rest of the chart. If Fozisov could bring us some summer wars, a few Guardian fleets, and we could see a nice little spike here and a sell opportunity. I think this is interesting, the Guardian here at the moment. Here's the Hound then, 17 million, so very low, although I must say that all of the covered up ships seems to be very low at the moment. But yeah, buy orders 15.8, so being able to buy some Hounds close to 16 million, I think could be a good investment, like medium term or something like that. If maybe some covered up ships come back in vogue for some reason, maybe show up in a trailer or something like that, and then we could see them back towards 20-21 million, then this could be a very good investment. Here's the Manticore, and that one is pretty interesting because it is above 20 million, but it comes off of a spike at 25. Now it's back down to 22, so that's 3 million difference, more than 10%. Could be interesting for a short-term trade, maybe, the Manticore here. For some reason that one is substantially higher than the other covered up ships. Here is the Nemesis. That one is clearly going down very drastically. Lowest point in 6 months. The buyers below 18 million, the sellers just above that. You could invest in some Nemesis, in my opinion. At some point I do feel that covered ups frigates are going to go back towards 20 million, and then on a speculative spike you could really make some good money. So that's looking quite okay as well, I think, for buying some Nemesis ships. Here's the Oneros then. Are we really at one? Yeah, look at that, no buy orders whatsoever. At some point I do think an Oneros fleet is going to happen, and someone is going to buy a lot of them, and here no demand whatsoever. If you want to risk the investment, we're looking at 140, so this is actually looking quite okay in my opinion again, but keep in mind, of course, all of these are very low at the moment. Is there a reason for that? Is there a reason to think that this is not going to come back? I personally don't think so, but I don't know that much about the Tech 2 market either. So here's the Paladin then. I wouldn't go either way on this one, honestly. It's sitting at 0.95 billion where it's normally at, so it's not like you have a buy opportunity or a sell opportunity. That seems to be building, so I'd say no on the Paladin. Here's the Purifier then, again very low, so 16 million to 16.9 million. Yeah, if you think that this is something that is actually a real trend in the Tech 2 market, that all of them are going down, it's a possibility, of course. If you have an explanation for that, feel free to put that in the comments. I would be very interested, of course. But at the moment, I would dare say that on some of these very low ships, like here the Scimitar, look at that going down. There are just no buy orders for that. It's below 120. I actually feel that this is okay to buy a couple of these. I have to keep an eye on all of this, but I feel that this is actually pretty okay. So if you have any idea what's happening in the Tech 2 market, I would say that's my question for this week. Put that in the comments. But I feel if this could be tied to Moon Minerals, if we could see summer wars, these could be pretty good investments. That's my opinion on it, of course. Next up, we've got the Tech 3 ships. Let's see, 1915. 150 for that. The confessor, I think we all know that that one is still holding quite steadily at 42.5 million, something like that. It's just too early to say that anything is going to change here. It's also, of course, it's only a destroyer, so it's actually not that big of a ship to make, doesn't cost that many materials, so there's a lot of supply of this because it's pretty easy to make and to bring to the market. So next up here we've got the Legion. It looks like well, they found the bottom again, close to 140 this time, so it broke that. Now it's up to 140 again, and yeah, 136.7 for the buyers, 142.5 for the sellers. Still, there is some competition going on the sell order side of things, and oversupply 25, 28, 18, 25, 23. It is there as well. So I think a longer term trend is going to be down again because the supply pressure is there. But it looks like people try to get the Tech 3 cruisers at 140, something like that, as a new bottom maybe. Here's the Loki then, very similar, 137 to 143. The chart again here after breaking 140, 5-day moving average, going back up again, and now we're trying to bounce around the 140 million mark, but still 41 here, 10.3, 10.4. Very recent orders in competition against each other. I do feel that the pressure is still done mostly by the supply here. Here's the Proteus, 144 to 154, so that one went up quite a little bit. And as a result, you do get 10, 15, 12, 23, a lot of very recent orders here again, 2, 5, 6, so that very nice to see, of course, the Proteus break the trend for just a second after reaching a bottom of 130. That should be mentioned as well, I think, very low, but I do think it's all going to be short-lived because of the pressure by the supply side. Here's this Vapel then, that one is going to go back towards 40 million. Yeah, 42 million, normal price, same as the Confessor, which is what it costs to produce one of these. And supply side, look at that, 216, 113, 87, 72. The market's got plenty of supply for this, so if you want to fly some of these tactical destroyers, have some fun with them, I think they're actually very affordable at the moment. And it doesn't look like it's gonna change anytime soon. Here's then the Tengu chart again, bottoming at 130 or close to that, and back up to 140, where we're trying to hold the Tech 3 cruisers at the moment. I would say still 43, 515. A lot of competition still happening on the supply side of things. There is some demand for them as well. That is true. I do see a lot of 89 days here on the demand side too, so it is here, and there is a chance I will be able to hold 140, but I do think if next week we're again seeing 10, 20, 30 in several sell orders that are less than a day old, and we're not seeing the supply sides come in with the demand side come in with a lot of fresh orders, that pressure is just going to build up once again, and we could be going back down very soon on these Tech 3 cruisers. So nice to see them all making a bit of a bounce, but I do feel that supply is still the dominant factor in the Tech 3 ships at the moment. There's just too much production of all of this stuff, and yeah, we're not blowing them up that quickly, I guess, and so that is a bit of a problem. Finally, extra material, 2345. I'm taking this one from the forum. So it was said there that the Neutron Blaster Cannon 2 has done quite a bit of a spike, and so I want to check that out. Turrets and base, hybrid turrets, blasters, I think it's the large ones, and then Neutron. Let's see if we can find something like that. Neutron Blaster 2, and it did indeed know quite a very nice spike. Look at that, highest price point in 3 months, close to the last one 6 months ago, 4.5 million. So we're currently looking at 4.1 million for the buyers, 4.4 million for the sellers. The interesting bit is how quickly the buyers have gone up as well. I mean, we were looking at 3.7 million as the trigger, and then bam, big speculation spike up very, very significantly. And why is this pretty interesting? If we go for some other Tech 2s, nope, not happening here. Let's see if I can find another Tech 2 one. Maybe I should widen this just a little bit. Electron blaster, that's a no. Ion blaster, that's a no. And so this neutron blaster cannon with its speculative bubble right there, that did just happen. And let's see if I can bring that back down a little bit like this. So yeah, very interesting. What I read on the forum thread is that it's actually demand driven. Of course, keep all of that with a grain of salt. It could be that the manipulators are behind the forum post as well. But if this is true, we could be seeing an increased demand for the goods behind this production cycle as well of neutron blasters. And so you may want to investigate that. It's quite a substantial one, you know, 3.7 million up to 4.5 million. It's probably going to bottom out here at the moment. Yeah, 4.4 million for the sellers. Look at the big supply here, but demand 163, 17, 81. Those are pretty big demand numbers here as well. So it is definitely there too. Above 4 million. Pretty big spike right there that was spotted by someone from the trade forum, and very interesting counter trend to all of the other large blasters. Maybe I should also quickly see if I can find some medium blasters, if anything similar is happening there. But here is heavy ion blaster, nope, not really. Here is heavy neutron blaster too, not really. And heavy electron blaster too as well, nope, nothing to be spotted there. So pretty unique spike in the neutron blaster cannon too right here. Quite nice if you have some of or if you have the ability to produce them, or if you have some of them for sale. So anyways, if you have other goods that you want me to check out as the extra product, feel free to post that in the comments. I'm open to suggestions. And for now, that's it for this Eve Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.